Garbage men share the best and worst things they've found in the trash.
I worked in the scrap metal business and have found not one, but two of three exact same bread statue, of two bears screwing each other. Brass statue, my bad.
My father was a garbage man when I was born. I don't remember because I was like 3 months old. But my first dog was in the trash. My dad stopped, picked up a box and heard some shuffling on the inside, and there were two puppies. My dad kept one and the driver kept the other. They were brother and sister, my dad assumed. He kept the male and named him Jasper. He was literally my best friend growing up. I had him for 13 years and my dad tells me the job was worth it just for that dog. He called the police and animal control on the residents but doesn't know what happened after that. All I know is I'm 37 and still love that dog so much. I'm so thankful my dad saved him and his sister. I worked as a garbage man in 1972. A small stray cat jumped into the back of the hopper to look for food. I took him home and named him Saigon. This was the best thing. Second best thing, someone threw out an old pair of skis. There was snow on the ground and me and the other guy each took a ski and stood on it and held onto the truck. Great fun. Third best, we found an entire case of Brill cream. Look it up, and me and the other guy had Brill cream fights all day. Total mess. I stripped off before going into my house after work. Worst thing's a garbage can that had live coals in it that started our truck on fire.
Friend of ours found two bullet-resistant vests with paramedic written across them, being thrown out behind a fire station. I guess they expire or something. In the 80s I picked up a number of Philips color TVs. I had a few, so fixing them was just a question of swapping parts. I then sold them cheaply or gave them away to fellow students.
Once I found a perfectly good stationary bike that my neighbors threw out that I cleaned up then used for years. Can't believe this day comes only 52 times a year.
James Franco's handwritten poetry. Franco was getting his Master of Fine Arts at my school, where I did work study on the garbage/recycling crew. Lots of great and hilarious finds, but that's the most memorable.
I found my wife in a pile of garbage while working on a garbage truck. I was working being trained as a garbage man, and one day a woman was throwing out way too much good stuff, boxes of books, and I could see she was trying to fill a car and minivan, so I figured she was moving and having to sacrifice good stuff. I talked to her and offered to come back later and help her move so she didn't have to throw away so much stuff, and it ended up being a story that her husband left her for her best friend, and they moved in together, and she couldn't afford the townhouse anymore as she was undergoing cancer treatment. We got married 1 year later. I like to say I found her in the trash and fixed her up, but the truth is it is the opposite. I was the trash she fixed up. Worked as a garbage man for a very short time last summer, but the best thing I found was an edition of my local newspaper from the day after the Challenger exploded. My father was a garbage man who also did cleanouts for homes and businesses, where they'd rip apart the entire building and throw everything out in their dumpsters. He worked on a ton of really massive houses, some worth tens of millions of dollars. One was worth 40 million and wasn't even the permanent residence. Best things I got as a kid, pretty much unused trampoline with a net and everything. A go-kart that my dad's friend was able to fix up and we used all the time. I live on a dead end. And once he cleaned out a deli that was closing down, and we no joke had unlimited Snapples and sodas of every flavor for almost a year. I drink the Snapples while out on the trampoline. I used the hell out of all three of those things in my childhood.
Elaine Cedar Chest. I was helping my dad clean out this lady's garage and she said as long as we're there, we might as well take that, too. She said she always hated the smell of cedar but her husband wouldn't let her get rid of it, and now that he was dead, she was sending it on its way. The veneer was never in great shape but it still keeps my wool items safe. I've had it for over 30 years now.
My dad was a trash man when I was growing up. He would always be bringing cool stuff home to us. He used to always say that the poor neighborhoods had the most trash and they threw away literally everything. The two best ones that I can think of was a brand new BMX bike and like 20 Nintendo 64 games that he found at a video rental store. Also once at the transfer station one of his co-workers found a dummy arm in the big pile of trash. He pulled it and it ended up being a dead guy. The police later determined that it was a homeless person that got picked up and died when the trash truck compacted him.
My little brother was emptying out a client's basement and everything was going to be thrown away, so my brother was told to keep anything he wanted. He saw a nice looking bike and took it. Turns out it was a Dayhan Mu P8 30th anniversary limited edition and in perfect condition. From what I found on it, it goes for over $4,000.
Oh man. My time to shine. I've been working at a waste transfer station, garbage dump, for many years. The worst I've seen, just garbage, not counting stuff brought to the hazmat department. A freezer stuffed with a skinned, rotting, headless deer carcass. We nearly called the cops before we realized it wasn't human. Used needles. The worst being a tie between porcupine couch and the lady who literally handed me a paper bag full of syringes she found during a park cleanup. Large container of old crystallized picric acid. Bomb squad had to deal with that one. The best. A high-end laptop in perfect condition except for a tiny crack on the LCD panel. Easy DIY repair that took $40 and 5 minutes, thing would have cost $1,500 new. Enough brand new furniture to literally furnish my whole apartment. A high-end military-grade inflatable boat, brand new. The weirdest. A first-gen platelet counting machine, complete with weird tubes of bright green liquid and mercury. When I was prepping it for hazmat disposal, I had to call the company that bought the company that made it for some info. They never digitized the records, but the oldest repair tech still working was super excited because he remembered servicing them 50 years ago. Coffin. No body, just the coffin. Couldn't see anything wrong with it either. Buckets of testicles, from a ranch, that had been sitting out in the summer heat for a week. Smelled so bad my coworker hurled. That's not the weird part. The weird part is the guys wanted their buckets back. Do you know how bad it has to smell to make a garbage collector puke? And they wanted them back? The $10K duffel bag. Lady came in super upset because earlier she threw out a duffel bag that she didn't know her boyfriend kept cash in. Over $10,000 in cash. We never found the bag. 16 full-size barrels of old vegetable grease some guy had saved up in his garage. He was planning to make a biodiesel car or something.
Not a sanitation worker, but my uncle was Smile. And he often brought back some pretty sweet items. We grew up not dirt poor, but definitely paycheck to paycheck, and anything that helped us out was a godsend. So when our uncle often got hauls from his work, he'd share his spoils with the family and the neighborhood at large. There was one time a whole fleet of Razor scooters had been thrown out by some store due to minor defects with them. The local kids didn't give a damn about a design issue or the sticker was on the wrong way and the like. We all had a ball when we got our new, branded to boot, plaything. Also, there was a time an ice creamery had to dispose of a lot of their stock because of exceeding the best before date. Oh man, what an epic score that was for the family. We loaded up as much as we could and had a stockpile that lasted us quite a while. Good times.
We have a good friend who garbage picks. He has done so for quite a while now as a hobby. For years he was the ski fairy. We have 4 kids and they ran through kids' skis, boards, poles, boots, masks, like crazy, as all kids do as they grow. He and his wife and son all skied, and he would pick up good stuff when he saw it on his rounds. Every so often we would pull into the drive and leaning against the garage would be skis or boots or other equipment that he thought might work for one or more of the kids. The ski fairy had made a delivery. He has found lots of nice things and more valuable stuff, but still my favorite story is his finding money. Change. Not like $6 in a drawer or box. Buckets of it. $780 or so. Not mistakenly thrown out. Placed with garbage. And, $780 and change is heavy. No mistake, it was being tossed. I guess not worth counting.
Finally, something I can contribute to. I do trash at apartments. In the year I've worked the job, I've found and kept a couch, -2 desk chairs, a floor lamp, deck furniture, a TV stand, my cat, various decorations I've given to my mom, some things I've sold, a bike, $40, some outdoor vases, $30, a bed frame, $50, an original Xbox with at least 80 games all in a box, $20, to my friend that collects old video games. But yeah, it's crazy what people throw away.
Please subscribe to Reddit Ramblings for more of the best Reddit stories.